When a real estate advisor buys for himself, it's never by chance. And today I'll show you exactly where and why I made my move. Very good day everyone, it's Alexandru Bârcă here as usual, your property specialist here in Dubai. And look, today's episode is going to be a bit more special, as I'm going to discuss about where did I decide to buy my first apartment in Dubai and what's the logic behind that choice. The reason I want to talk about this is actually simple. I want you to see the thinking behind my own purchase, what I paid attention to, which factors matter the most to me as someone who works in this industry every single day. It's worth saying though that the journey was quite interesting for myself as well. It's one thing to advise customers and a totally different story to be on the other side of the deal. Okay, so let me start with a bit of background. My initial plan was to buy something for my own use, a home to live in ideally. And as I used to live in Marina Gate for 2 years, I was planning to continue with the same developer, Select Group, and specifically with their project Peninsula in Business Bay. Great concept, great quality, outstanding positioning, and so on. However, while being in the role of a potential customer, I felt like I was not really comfortable with my plans. I just couldn't pull the trigger. And one thing that I basically learned during the years is that the right decisions are either made fast or they're not made at all. The time was passing and suddenly one day a beautiful asset came on the horizon in one of the areas which I had heavily analyzed for my customers and where numbers are showing positive potential. The area is called Mina Rashid Yachts Marina by Emaar. As soon as I saw the offer, I didn't think twice. It was a rapid and firm yes. I decided to go with something that I'm 100% sure will be good for both capital appreciation and strong rental demand, while also the liquidity is there, both under construction and post-completion. It's interesting to notice that with Peninsula I had a very strong emotional attachment to it, but I couldn't justify it with numbers. The math and some other aspects were just not working at 100% in my head. Please remember this, real estate is a game of minimizing the controllable risk. That's why Mina Rashid was quite an easy decision for me. And this is exactly what I keep telling my clients, please don't base your decision on brochure, renders, and most important, hype. Now allow me to show you the reasons why I believe Mina Rashid Yachts Marina is a great choice, and by the way, should you be interested, you can also put an eye on it and we might be potential neighbors. Of course, the first and the most important fact is the location. This community is right by the sea and there is nothing else like it in Dubai. The entire area is built in a very European style. Low-rise buildings, beautiful pools, amazing infrastructure and a very unique atmosphere. There are almost no seafront plots left in Dubai except for Palm Jebel Ali, but that's quite a long story. As for Dubai Islands or Maritime City, I didn't consider them close alternatives. Reason number 2 is infrastructure and timing. Rashid Yachts Marina consists of 2 phases. From 2022 up until today, Emaar launched 10 projects in phase 1 and 8 projects in phase number 2. The very first project, called Seagate, which was launched back in summer 2022, is only now being handed over, which means that the area is not yet fully livable. There is still no retail, no infrastructure, nothing is fully operational just yet. And that's exactly why the full wave of appreciation is still ahead of us. Over the next 2 years, this area will completely transform. Check out this. Seagate will hand over first, followed by most probably Sunridge, and only after that Seascape, then Clear Point, Bayline, Avonlea, Ocean Point, and finally Ocean Star, my new home. Each new handover will add more and more value to the community. With every completed project we are getting more retail infrastructure and new residents moving in. Another important point that I typically discuss with my customers is this. If you're looking for real price appreciation when buying off-plan, don't focus only on the building. Focus on what's happening in the surrounding area that can directly impact its value. Because even if the building itself looks incredible, but it's located in an area which is quite developed, like let's say downtown, the growth potential is quite limited. Maybe 10, 15, maximum 20% by the completion. That's what I'm seeing based on real numbers. In Dubai, it's always about the infrastructure around the project that drives the biggest growth. That's why master communities fully controlled by a single developer typically deliver the better results. Now let's go to the next factor, the payment plan. I could have chosen a 40-60 payment plan, but I didn't. And here's why. A 40-60 structure usually slows down price growth during construction. Why? The answer is simple. Everyone on the secondary market typically knows that as these projects get closer to handover, there will be owners who will not want to pay the final big installment of 60% of the total price. Or simply won't be able to, and they'll start discounting their units. So the closer you get to handover, more people start to panic and undercut the secondary market. That's why, in my opinion, an 80-20 plan is the best payment structure in Dubai. It keeps prices stable and supports appreciation through construction. The next reason is quite obvious. I knew that no one would get big discounts or under-the-table offers. This is just not Emar's style. Their pricing policy is clear and fair to everyone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me show you why I chose a 3-bedroom apartment inside this community. Emar has already announced that there will be 2 schools inside Rashid Yachts. One located in the phase number 2 and the other one right across the street from Ocean Star. The announcement of these educational institutions is a major milestone for this area. Schools mean families, people who will live there long term, not just tourists. And that automatically creates higher demand for 2 and 3 bedroom apartments. And please pay attention, I'm not saying that 1-bedroom apartments are bad investment, not at all. But in my case, I decided to go for a bigger apartment because it purely gives you more flexibility in the future. It's spacious enough that if I decide to keep it for myself, I can easily turn one of the rooms into a walk-in closet or a home office. Larger apartments also mean more exclusivity. In this project, there are only 20 units of 3-bedroom apartments. Lack of stock? Welcome. Another important update to add is that Mina Rashid will also feature 2 or 3 hotels plus a dedicated building for spa and fitness facilities in phase number 2. And as for one of the most common questions I get, what about the beach access? Well, to me that's not a deal breaker, not even close. If I want to swim in the sea, I always try to drive to Abu Dhabi. The beaches there are on a completely different level than the ones here. I honestly don't go to beach here in Dubai. My suggestion is always Saadiyat Island in Abu Dhabi for a short trip, one love. That's why, coming back, Rashid Yachts Marina has simply no equivalent. You can't compare it to JBR or Emaar Beachfront, those are mainly short-term rental and tourist locations. You can't compare it to Port de la Mer either, it's a completely different story. That's why I felt extremely confident going with Emaar, and I'm happy about that because that's what I usually suggest my own customers. So probably I practice what I preach. Now, dear viewers, I'd like to grab your attention for a second. Seems like Emaar is launching next week a new addition to Rashid Yachts Marina right on the left side of Aurea building. That's why, should you be interested, you have my credentials below. You can always text me on the WhatsApp and I'll be more than happy to assist you as usual. It's still a good time buying there before the infrastructure is coming. That's why I'll be waiting for your messages. Leave a comment down below and hit the subscribe button. On to the next time. Bye bye.